All right. Giving it out another minute and we'll get started. Thanks for being here, everyone. All right. Screen look good. Ruth said. Perfect. Okay. Just want to make sure. Awesome. Well, we'll get started. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for spending your Tuesday morning with us. Really appreciate it. Hope you had a great start to your day and your new year and all that fun stuff. Um, so welcome to the Tech Venture Accelerator for Women info session. Really excited to have everyone here today. My name is Audrey Miller. I'm the program manager for the Colorado SBDC Tech Source Commercialization Program. Um, and you can see we've got Ruth and Ed here. They're two of our subject matter experts who will they'll chat more with you soon to kind of talk more about the program, but really excited to have them with us as well this morning. Um, so yeah, we'll just get started. Um, so this is just a little bit about some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. Just what is the Tech Source Commercialization Program, some of the successes of the past accelerator, how to figure out if you're a good fit, and who you're going to see if you participate, and then kind of what the content of the program is. And then we'll kind of end the session with a Q&A. So if you have any questions, while we're talking, please feel free to drop them into the chat down at the bottom. You should have the Q&A section to ask questions, so feel free to drop them in as they come up, or when we get to the Q&As, perfectly fine as well. So first off, what the Tech Source Commercialization Program is, since we're here talking to you, right? So the Tech Source Commercialization Program is really here to kind of help meet the needs of science and technology companies all across the state of Colorado, especially those who are, considered in advanced industries. So it is a statewide program. So I'm located in Boulder, but, we serve all across the state of Colorado, which is really great, and really exciting. And we do this all through no cost services, which is also an amazing, I think, aspect of the program. Is we receive some funding from the federal government through the SBA to be able to run programs like this at no cost to those that we're serving. So it's a really great program for that. And then, so one of the other things that we, kind of want to talk about is, why you're here, right, for TVX-W. So, TVX-W, the Tech Venture Accelerator for Women, is I think, a really great resource for women in the tech and science fields, to women who are entrepreneurs in the tech and science fields here in the state of Colorado. One of the things that I think makes it so unique, compared to a lot of other accelerators, is that we do focus quite a bit on non-dilutive capital sources, and technology commercialization, more so than equity, um, than most accelerators typically would. So not to say we don't have the resources and can't help guide you through the equity path, but we do put focus quite a bit on non-dilutive capital sources through our accelerator. If you're not familiar with the term non-dilutive, it really just means you're not giving away equity. So that's kind of a major focus of ours. And I think one of the things that really makes this program unique. And the other one is really, we do a lot of work to customize this experience for you. So you'll meet pretty regularly with some of our consultants, like Ruth and Ed here, to really make sure that this program is able to be customized to where you are based off of your business, your background, what you're looking for, all of that fun stuff. And so I think that's something that's really unique as well about this accelerator. Um, and then kind of going off of that, we'll talk more about what the time commitment is and, what those deliverables are by going through the program. But, we did make sure that we were really coming at it from the perspective of you and of the entrepreneurs that we're working with to make sure that, when we're building the time commitment for this, that's something that can be fit into your schedule a lot easier than other programs might be. Because, we understand that as entrepreneurs, you are that you have a lot on your plate, especially a lot of people, this may not be their full-time job quite yet. And so you're balancing multiple things on top of really, running your business as well. And so we try to be conscious of that when talking about the time commitment. Um, and then the other thing that is, I think, just such an amazing, amazing part of this accelerator is that by participating in this program, you actually do get an in-depth customized market research report for you. It includes um, so much information that has been so beneficial, I know, to other companies in the past. And, I've been able to witness people really make some really, I think, beneficial pivots based off of that report that they get, that anywhere else would cost thousands of dollars. And, here by participating in our program, it's no cost to you as long as you're, an active participant in the TVX-W accelerator. So it's really great. And then similarly, we try really hard to make sure that this isn't an academic format. We don't want you to feel like you're going back to school by, doing this program with us. And so we work really hard to make sure that this is interactive and that you're able to really ask a lot of questions and to be able to talk with one another, and really create that community, of entrepreneurs within you. And so kind of going, into the peer-to-peer aspect of things, right? Especially in this program, right? When you've got a group of women who are so dedicated, uh, you get to build this really amazing community where you get to work together as well. And so I think that is such an amazing benefit of the accelerator and of the program that we get to run is, you get to work with other women who totally understand where you're coming from, what you're doing, while being able to also work on your business at the same time. So it's really great, I think, great benefit. And then, as we said before, it's also free. So, I mean, not totally free in the way that's just handed over to you, right? You have to do the work, but, this isn't at a financial cost to you. And so, like I said before, we get some funding to specifically run this program at no cost to the individuals that we work with, which is really amazing. So just a little bit about, what the benefits have been and what the impact has been, historically. So, this graphic is actually a little outdated. So it's from a little over a year ago. So we actually have more information to add to this now, which is really awesome. But you can kind of just get a quick glance at, like, some of the impact that we've really been able to create through this program. And then similarly, just kind of getting a little bit of a testimony right here of, Melissa talking about about how great that community really was and helping her, guide her through, her business and what she's doing and how beneficial that community really was. And then again, that market research report that we talk about, I think it's something that a lot of people really overlook is their market research, and the benefit that it really can create to their company. And so, yeah, you can really see just the value add that that creates. So, our team, who you're going to be working with. So, aside from me, these four are the individuals that you're really going to be seeing quite a lot of. You can see Ed and Ruth are here today. And then Susie and Allison are two of our subject matter experts that you also will be doing quite a bit of work with, and seeing around quite a lot. So we have a really awesome team here. And these four are really the reason I think this program has been so successful. So we're very lucky to have them and to be able to work with them. So outside of those four, this is just a quick little sample of some of the other individuals that you'll get to work with, and see, while participating in the program. So we have a group of over 20 subject matter experts with a bunch of really broad experience. Um, and they're here to really help guide you through, whatever questions you have. And so they'll come and give presentations, and then you can also request follow-up meetings with them and have one-on-one consulting hours with them as well, which is really great. So, how do you know if you're a fit for the program? So first and foremost, the box you've got to check is just being a woman or woman identifying, leadership at some type of at a science and technology company. So, we don't go off of the typical, of women-owned definition where it has to be 51% owned. But we just, you just need to be able to show us why you're the right person to be able to be in this accelerator for, your company that you're working at. And then when we talk about technology, we do ask that you're in an advanced tech. So you can kind of see the list here. It's really considered like advanced manufacturing, aerospace, bioscience, infrastructure engineering, technology, information. There's other, it can be kind of an other as well. But really, this is just not a program for somebody who is rebranding an existing technology. So we ask that, you're really having something that's really innovative and new to be able to participate in the program. And then the potential to submit an SBIR, STTR. So if you're not familiar with SBIRs, it's their Small Business Innovative Research Grant. And, it's through the federal government, and they kind of same thing as what we were talking about before. The advanced tech is really to kind of fall under that to be able to submit a proposal. The reason we ask that is just because, like I said earlier, we do have a heavy focus on non-dilutive capital. A major part of that being SBIRs and STTR proposals. So the potential to be there and to fall under the qualifications for that is something that we do look for in applications. And then last, be committed to fully participating. We want individuals who are able to really dedicate their time and dedicate themselves to this program. If you're only able to attend, 5 of the 10 weeks of this program, this isn't the right program for you. We really ask that you're able to show up every week, do the work that we're asking, really, deliver on those deliverables that we ask of you, and be able to, show up to each session and be able to fully participate and be there with everyone. So that's how, we build this really great community, is through having people who are able to fully dedicate and participate in the program. So just the last little box you got to check. Awesome. So I'll pass it over to Ruth and Ed to kind of talk more about the program design and what that'll look like.
Okay, thanks, Audrey. So, as we've been talking about, there are 2 aspects to the program. One is what happens in the cohorts. When in our weekly sessions, there's a lot of activity that goes on that helps you to build your business. And then there's some stuff that goes on in the venture. So things that are going to happen not during the sessions on Thursday mornings. And I'm going to talk about the in the cohort section. I guess I should back up, give you a little bit of my background. So by degree, I'm a mechanical engineer. I've been doing business development for about 25 years and have been focused on the SBIR program since about 2005. So I'm one of the SBIR program experts. So if you have questions about that in the Q&A, if you're not familiar with it, we can handle it then. And my role is I provide some of the market research for some of the client companies. So we kind of split that up among the various teams. And we facilitate some of the out of the venture or in the venture out of the cohort activities. So the first thing I'll say about the cohort sessions is, it's really your opportunity for your peer-to-peer conversations. Because we do this all online, given that people are scattered around the state, we do put you in breakout rooms. We try to give you topics, I'll say seed topics to get you talking, but it's an opportunity for you to talk to your peers, because a lot of time, particularly if you're a sole developer or if you don't have a company built up around you, it could be a lonely place. So you get that opportunity to talk to people. The other value is we bring in a lot of people to discuss various areas that might be of interest to you. And what we try to do is give you an idea of what's coming and ask you to ask questions up front, so that as we bring in these specialists, they make sure that they hit on the things that are important to you. And it covers everything from, marketing programs and, how to run your sales channel. I've mentioned SBIR. There's a couple different aspects of why you would talk to a lawyer. It could be contracts, could be patents, it could be how you've structured your entity. Um, you may have some questions about accounting or, once you start to get these government grants, how do you do government compliant accounting? So based on the mix of the cohort, we will leverage the expertise that we have in our pool of consultants and make sure we get the right people in. Um, the goal is to kind of move you towards being able to pitch your technology. And, some people aren't ready to pitch investors. So you get to pick the audience for your pitch. It's whether you're pitching to customers, to partners, if you're going to use an indirect channel. It can be to investors. Some of the non-dilutive um, sources of funding also require pitches. I'm actually a reviewer for the state of Colorado Advanced Industry Grant. So it could be a pitch towards that kind of funding, or it could be just the kind of pitch you're going to give as you're attracting co-founders or attracting employees. We want to make sure that we help you really understand and talk about your organization for the audience you think you want to address. So that all goes on in the cohort. We meet Thursday mornings, couple hours, and we do the mix of the breakout rooms, the presenters, and just some general discussions amongst the cohort companies about, where you are in your business, what great things have happened that week, what have you put into practice. So that's kind of the focus of what goes on in the cohort in those sessions. And I'll turn it to Ruth, and she can talk about the venture portion.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Ruth Yonich. I'm one of the market researchers. My background is business, and I worked for tech firms early in my career before starting consulting and market research about 25 years ago, I guess. So I have worked with a high volume of companies throughout these accelerators and others, and that's one of the benefits that our team brings, is just seeing a lot of different companies over and over again. Um, so you can see that Gantt chart in the venture. Actually, it might be 1 minus 0 minus 1 or 0 minus 2, because we probably will start the market research as soon as applications are, as soon as you're accepted into the program. We might want to start scheduling what we call the discovery meetings for market research. And that's going to be your initial meeting for the outside of the cohort, what we're calling in the venture sequence of deliverables. That meeting will be a time for us to get with you, to find out how, how things have gone with your business so far, and to really have us get a sense of how we can help you move forward with information. So that will be the focus of the market research deliverable. And then we'll go off and conduct the research, and then, kind of midway through, have a debrief with you. In the meantime, we want to get you started on doing customer discovery. Customer discovery is a critical component of this program. As Audrey said, we've really tried to fine tune the requests for your input on this program so that it's time well spent. But the customer discovery takes time to do it well, and we're actually doing our own market research, reaching out to past participants, and we adjust based on their input. And it is very interesting conversations. The companies that do customer discoveries are ones that really move forward the best. So it's become a cornerstone of this program, and we will give you instruction, even do role plays and guide you. But we really want you to do that part of this program because it's critical to figuring out your product market fit, and then also skill development for doing business development and sales, and getting a lot of information about the landscape of your market. So we have what we call an action plan that kind of guides you through the customer discovery, as well as some of the pieces of the market research. Along the way, Ed mentioned, you've got those subject matter experts in the topics that are presented during the cohort sessions. You can schedule to meet with them one-on-one. So that's something that can start, things come up throughout the session, and that's very flexible. One of the kind of the capstone deliverables we have is business model canvas. So the market research and the customer discovery will feed into that, and then you'll choose to focus on one of your customer segments, and we'll work through a business model canvas. If you've never seen it before, it's kind of a visual representation of your overall commercialization strategy, and you'll have two of us, and we again have all done a lot of strategy work to help talk through what you're going to do. And then pitch practice the whole way through. Each week, we'll have two of you do kind of a practice pitch, and then you'll have the chance to get feedback from us. So it's a bit of an iterative process so that you're well prepared at the end to do a pitch. So Audrey, if you want to go to the next slide, I'll talk about the what you'll get part. So again, pretty in-depth market research report, and we all will help you look for SBIR topics, and try to zero in on what makes sense in your industry for how you should go to market. The business model canvas work session, you'll end up with a nice kind of a PDF of your business model canvas with all sorts of sticky notes and ideas that you've put up there on it. The pitch deck consulting at the end of the, again, at the end of the cohort sessions, 2 per, you'll get that assistance. Subject matter expert consulting, and then the action plan. We'll be helping you and adding comments, but it's kind of a way for you to digest what's happening along the way and add your thoughts, go in deeper, and then as you get towards the end, what are you going to do with the information? We don't want you to come away with this great market report and then haven't really figured out how are you going to use the information. So this is kind of a way to tie it all together. And at the end of the last cohort that we did, it was actually a Boulder specific accelerator. One of the clients commented that looking back on what they said at the beginning that they wanted to do in terms of their target customers, their target markets, then after, as they got through, they said, boy, it's very interesting to go back and look because it changed. People really thought through, who am I actually selling to? What do they need? How am I going to get to them? How do they make their decisions about buying? So again, we want you to document that. And then, of course, the final event is you'll do a pitch, and those pitch simulations are really, really important. And we will help coach you. We've had participants who have said, this is not my thing. I'm really uncomfortable, and so the practice is really, really great. And usually especially the TVX-W, it's a friendly audience, and everybody is supportive. So again, when we talk to past clients, we really hear that kind of support and camaraderie is a big part of what they liked in the accelerator. So I will stop there and pass it back to Audrey.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ruth and Ed. So yeah, kind of continuing on what they were saying, this is just kind of a little bit of a sample of some of the topics that we'll be covering kind of week to week. As I said before, this is a 10-week program. So right now we're starting on March 7th, and the last session will be on May 9th. And that's Thursday mornings from 9 to 11 a.m. or 11:30 a.m. And then for about 5 weeks, we'll have that optional pitch practice from, that should say 11:30 to 12, not 11 to 11:30 a.m. My bad. I had a typo, but for an additional half hour, we'll have that optional pitch practice for individuals to really help you coach you through, that pitch that's that you're delivering at the end. So, and again, this is just a little bit of a sample of kind of what each of those weeks will kind of look like and what we'll talk about, during the accelerator. And then, so that expected time commitment. So you kind of just saw a little bit of what that looks like, what the program will kind of look like in terms of topics and, the process. And so this is just a little bit of a look into what that time commitment is like estimated at. Um, like I said before, we do want people who are fully dedicated to the program and are able to really fully, be present. And so I think for that to happen, you need to have a realistic idea of what that time commitment will look like. So obviously the most obvious one is going to be, those cohort sessions, right? For 2.5 hours on Thursday mornings. That's like the most obvious time commitment that we're going to ask of you. But then you can kind of see here with that discovery meeting, your research report, debrief, and your business model canvas session, how long about how long those will last. That's the amount of time that we slot for these things. Sometimes they go less. So it's just, but this is about the time that we estimate that it'll take for those meetings. And then yeah, your deliverables, you can kind of see here what that'll look like. And this is total. So this is, over those 10 weeks, this is about what we estimate it'll take you to like really do over the entire 10 weeks of time. And sometimes it's going to take you a little less, sometimes it might take you a little more in terms of things, but this is just to give you a good idea of what those deliverables are and how long, we estimate they'll take for you. Um, and then, yeah, and then just the weekly stuff. This is again, just things that you'll see, just reviewing those presenter materials that we'll send to you beforehand, the evaluation that we'll ask you to do at the end, and then just any other follow-up surveys and meetings as well. So just to give you a good idea of what you're looking at when committing to the program. Um, and then before we go into the Q&A, just, how you apply. So you'll apply online at our website. You can see the link there. After this, I'm going to send an email to everybody again with a link to the application and a link to the recording in case you want to review anything. So you can see there where you can apply at our website. And then the deadline is February 9th. So that is about a week and a half from now. The application is pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy that you need to do. It shouldn't take you very long. So it just gives us a good idea of who you are, why you're the person to, be participating in this program, and all of that fun stuff. So it is a pretty competitive application pool. We only have 10 spots. I realized it's something that wasn't really said earlier. So we only have room for 10 companies to participate in the program. So like I said, this is pretty competitive, and so definitely encourage you to get your applications in um, as soon as you can, and then also to make sure you're putting a lot of thought into that application as well, and telling us why your company is right for this, how you apply, how what you'll contribute to the group, and why you as an individual are the right person to be in the program. So that is all I have for the formal presentation. I know there was a few questions. If you have any other questions, please feel free to drop them into the chat. I'm going to stop sharing. But we can kind of start getting to some of the questions that have already been put in. Lori, if your NSF SBIR pitch has been accepted, allowing you to apply for a grant, is this still a good program to participate in? I would say yes. I think this is something that Ed can probably speak to a little bit better than I can, but I would still say yes.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say yes as well, because, once your pitch has been accepted, you have a year to actually put in a proposal. And some of the elements of the proposal, particularly for NSF is very big on looking at high risk, high reward. So they want you to really bring out your technical innovation, but they also want to know, have you determined that there's a market for this? So I think the accelerator can help you with some of the, you'll get a market research report, which will give you kind of that top down, here's the market that we're looking at. We also spend a lot of time with customer discovery, which helps you build that bottom up story. Like, I'm going to sell to these kinds of people. I've talked to them. I've validated that this is a needed technology, that people will pay money for it. So yes, I would say even if you've made it through the pitch process, I think a lot of the elements of the accelerator will help you write the proposal that you're now going to have to submit to get to that next stage with the phase one funding.
Awesome. And then Naomi, how often do you offer this program? We offer this every year. So this is offered, every spring right now, as long as, we still continue to have the funding for it. So this will, currently we do plan to have it again in the year, next year. If you don't think this year you're quite ready for it. Um, I saw that um, somebody else had asked if it's okay to apply next year if you don't get in this year, as well. And so, yeah, that is totally okay. We have people who have applied for, who applied, 1 year, didn't get in because it just wasn't quite the right time. And then, apply the next year and participate. So, it's totally okay for you to apply if you don't get in again this year. Let's see. What stage does your company have to be in? Is a demo required? Does one have to be incorporated already? You're focused on customer discovery the last several months. That's awesome that you're focused on customer discovery already, because that is something I think a lot of companies don't do when they're first starting out. So that's great that you're already focusing on it. I would say a demo is not required, but you do need to be, registered or incorporated in some capacity to be able to participate in the program. So that part is required, but we do have people who are pretty early stage who have gone through the program. Ruth, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to that part, but
Not really. I think that's right. I mean, yes, we do have plenty of early stage companies. So I would say just in the application, really explain, what you've done to date to prepare to go further with your technology. That would be helpful.
And there, we do bring in people that maybe some of those questions about as you're incorporating, what type of entity do you want to be and how do you want to set things up? So there could be some valuable information you could gather as part of the accelerator.
and then Olivia, will there be opportunities to meet up in Boulder with instructors, mentors, and or fellow founders? I mean, if you're in Boulder, we do have some of our consultants who are in Boulder who will do in-person meetings. So there definitely are in that capacity. So I would say yes. We have an office in Boulder on Pearl Street that we tip it is, as long as you let me know, we can open up to being able to have meetings with, some of our subject matter experts or other founders that would like to meet up there. Just know that not all of them are in Boulder or in the Boulder area. We do have subject matter experts who are located all over the state since this is a statewide program. So some people may not be local, but those who are local, you are more than welcome to kind of use the space as long as you just let me know in that way. So kind of on that same note, I noticed there were a couple other questions about like where this is like where the meetings are, that type of thing. So this is a completely virtual program. So each week on Thursday, it is on Zoom. So not, you don't have to worry about making sure, trying to drive to Boulder or something if you're in Denver. Or, for those of you on the western side of the state, it's definitely something you can still participate in, even if you're located on the western side, because this is completely virtual. So that way we can have everyone from all four corners of Colorado can still participate in the program. So it is a completely virtual program. Is this limited to only Colorado businesses in Colorado? This is limited to only businesses in Colorado. We do have a few exceptions where, even if you're not headquartered here, as long as you have, you know, if you are located in Colorado, we can kind of be we can be flexible in that. Again, kind of like what Ruth had just said a few minutes ago, just making sure that you, in your application, you really explain, what the situation is and why you should be participating in that capacity. How are the selected applicants notified and by when? So the application process, after you apply, we'll have our team kind of take a look at the applications, kind of decide who is a good fit, and we'll meet and kind of do a whole meeting on, to select the final 10 companies. After that is I will actually send you an email to let you know when you've been notified. And that'll be the week after. So you should be notified by, my dates are, I cannot remember my dates off the top of my head right now. Should be notified by the end of the day on the 16th is when you'll be notified. Yeah, end of the day of February 16th. If accepted, is it okay if my CTO attends the sessions with me? Unfortunately, he is a guy. So I like the unfortunately, he is a guy. But so in the normal week-to-week sessions, I would say no, but when it comes to some of the consulting hours afterwards, you are welcome to bring in your team members to those meetings. So while he might not be able to participate in the weekly sessions, if you have a session, or if you one of our presenters and you go to have a meeting with the presenter afterwards, you are welcome to invite him to that meeting.
The only other thing is, in the past, like when we have Dan talk about financials, if you want to have your CFO sit through that session,
Yeah.
we've done that, where if the session content is very specific to whoever your extra person is, like if it's legal or financial or something like that, or HR, we have had people kind of drop in for those sessions so that they can not get the information secondhand.
Yeah. But not he can't attend weekly. If you do have another female founder though, there have been cases where we've accepted 10 companies, but we might have 11 or 12 participants because 2 of the founders have participated. If there is another like if you do have another like woman founder with you is able to participate as well. Is there an opportunity to get feedback on last year's application? Olivia, you can send me an email and I can go and take a look at what the comments have been from last year, and kind of let you know on maybe why you weren't selected last year and maybe ways that we can, on what we could potentially help you in the future. So, is this the right program for someone that is more service-based? I would say depending on what that service is, but this is something that tends to have more of a product associated with it in terms of the technology, right? Because like I said before, this is focused on individuals working in advanced technology. So if you are like creating in a unique software to kind of go with that service, that's something that we could kind of, you could participate in the program. But if you're like exclusively service-based, I would say this probably is not the right program for you. Again, Ruth and Ed, I don't know if you've got anything you want to add to that, but.
I mean,
Okay.
we've had service-based companies go through before, so it certainly doesn't disqualify you. It depends on what your service is and how it fits into, the overall technology focus of the.
User experience research.
I would say be really, really clear in your application so that we can kind of figure that out. And sometimes with applications, if we have questions, we do call you. So, but please try to be complete in the application so we don't have to call everybody.
Yes. I just put my email in one of the answered questions. So hopefully, I saw like somebody had asked that, but, are the meetings virtual? You've done about half or 3/4 of the outlined program, so would only need aspects of said program should I still apply? My tech is proprietary and cannot be divulged, so is it still doable to apply? I mean, so as we said before, this is something that we want people to be able to fully participate in. So if you can't talk about your tech, it does make the program, I think, it'd be very difficult for you to be able to show up completely. While we do, our team is, committed to confidentiality agreements. Participants aren't necessarily. So, but like I said before, for you to be able to fully participate, we would have you would have the need to be able to discuss at least some things. We would ask you to be able to do that. But if you've done about half or three-quarters of the program already, I mean, I would say that it's always great to revisit those things. Um, I know I've spoken to people who have gone and revisited a lot of things that maybe they did really early on in their company or, when building their business, and then they go back and revisit, whether it's the customer discovery or the, market research or even a pitch, and they go back and they realize, how helpful it is to really go through and redo some of that stuff. So again, would really encourage you still to apply and just kind of outline, what you're doing, um, why you should be participating. And as long as, I mean, you're able to fully commit to showing up, and participating in the program, I would say that's not a reason that we would not be able to, yeah, the reason as to why you would not be able to be accepted. So again, I don't know if Ruth, Ed, please, yeah, feel free to jump in if you've got anything else to add.
I'll speak to that. I think that, like Audrey said, if you're willing to, see the movie twice, we still would want you to do the required elements of this and not expect that, oh, well, I've done customer discovery, and so I'm not going to do that. We would still want you to do it. So if you're willing to do, based on what was outlined today, then I would say, yeah, sure. If you would expect to just kind of cherry pick what's in the program, I mean, you can see it is a competitive field, so we want to make sure that whoever's accepted gets full value and that you're not taking the place of somebody who could benefit from the, on a more substantial way.
Yeah, exactly what Ruth said. I definitely still encourage you to apply and be able to just, as long as you're comfortable revisiting those things and, just articulate, do your best to kind of articulate where you are at and what you've done already in your application. Through customer discovery, is it a goal to secure first customers? No. So the goal of customer discovery is really to get a good idea of who your customers are, and how you're fitting, meeting their needs. So you don't need to have those customers already. It's just what who you think your customers are and kind of getting to know them. Again, I'll let Ruth kind of talk more about that because that's, her specialty, especially, but
Yeah, I mean, kind of best practices for customer discovery are to, it's like primary market research. So going to potential target market individuals, and it could be users, they could be economic buyers, they could just be a range of input. And it can lead to actual sales, but it is not a sales process. It's really to find out more about what you need to do with your product to make it viable. And again, as I was saying earlier in the presentation, we have found that it's a strong indicator for success. And it is also something that the granting agencies, and funders, venture capitalists really like. If you do customer discovery and have, um, compelling input from your market, it is a competitive advantage.
And then from Carolyn, do you have an offline version of the application form? We do not. So the application does need to be filled out on the website, directly there, just because we use a specific platform that we have to use to be able to get the intake there. So it is completely on the website. And then, like I said, I'll send that out to everybody again. All the link to the application. We provide IT services such as coding applications, networking, and break fix issues. Would this program be a good fit for our company? So again, this is stuff that's supposed to be, kind of coming from these from an innovative standpoint. So if you have something that's really, you're coming from it I think that you have something that's innovative that's like new to those IT services, then I would say 100%. So again, I think really just being able to articulate, in your application what you're doing, and yeah, what you're doing and what you've already done and what your company, a good amount of what those services you're doing, um, or what your services are, then I think like I would still encourage you to, let us know and give all those details. Oh, correction, after successful customer discovery, is it a goal to secure first customers through this program?
So yeah, that a good clarification question. So again, just customer discovery really by definition is not sales. So, um, and you don't want to kind of go into it with that mindset. It might lead to, it's like almost like this first stage of of a good sales process, but it's not the complete sales process. So it might end up setting you up for sales. And the program will address sales, but it is not, we don't have a goal of we're going to make sure that you have your first sale. That's going to be up to you to do. But I'll, Ed, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, so the when you start into the customer discovery process, first off, you should be listening more than talking. And what you're trying to do is gather requirements and make sure that it validates your problem. You kind of have a hypothesis that this is the problem I'm solving. This is why people care. And sometimes you may have multiple customer discovery conversations with the same contact, and those may progress towards the sale. And whether that progression happens during the course of the accelerator really kind of depends on the maturity of the product, the length of your sales cycle. So it's not forbidden to sell during the program, certainly, but what we're really looking for is for you to get that validation. And if it progresses to the point where you get to a sale, great.
And then Kim, are there any tools available to walk us through the customer discovery process if we aren't accepted into the program? So yeah, I mean, we are, first and foremost, before outside of the accelerator, we are, the tech source commercialization program as well. And so through that program, we offer, different types of resources and, access to, some of our consultants that we talked about earlier. So on just a little bit lesser of a basis. So if that's something that you're interested in, just definitely reach out to me and we can kind of chat through on what some other tools and resources we may have that might be able to help you. What are the three major differences between the SBDC program versus Techstars? So I mean, Techstars, I would say the major difference is kind of like what I had talked about earlier, is that, we focus on that non-dilutive aspect of things. So, to participate in TechSource, you're giving away equity to participate in their programs. And, that's not something we ask of you. And that's something that we actually try to educate you on the differences between, between that non-dilutive and dilutive funding options. So I would say that's like, I think one of the first like major difference between our program and theirs, and as well as what I had taught, and especially then, the cost and the cost to you, right? This is a free program. You're not giving away equity as part of your company. There's no financial ask of you on our side. So I would say those are the two like major differences. Third, I think our content is just going to be a little bit different than theirs, is just because they do focus on more of that, like the VC equity kind of perspective. So the content is just going to be pretty different in that way as well, in terms of the commercializing and things like that. So, yeah. Ed, I saw you like came off mute. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add to that, but
Yeah, it was kind of related. I think with Techstars, the end goal is they really do expect you to be pitching to investors. And we don't preclude that, but that is not our sole purpose of what we're progressing towards with the pitch event. And I think the other thing is if the SBIR program and that kind of government non-dilutive funding is of interest to you, I don't think Techstars pays much attention to that. So.
And then, all right, it looks like the last question. I heard that women-owned is at least 51% is not a requirement, but does it differentiate you? Just now incorporating with a co-founder who's male. No. So I mean, I would say it does not provide you like a advantage on its own, especially if you are the founder, you are, a founder of the company. So the main thing is that it just does differentiate you in terms of being a women-owned company in terms of like the government's eyes. But in terms of our like application wise, our eyes, no, that's totally okay if you're not 51% owned. It doesn't make, again, as long as you articulate yourself in the application as to why what your role is within your company, and why, your company and you as an individual are the right people to participate in the program. That's what matters at the end of the day. It's not the 51% owned. So
Yeah, but the only thing I'll say about the 51% that Audrey alluded to is if that is your goal, is to be classified as women-owned for government contracting, pay close attention to how you incorporate and how you set up your cap table and all that. So, because it can make a difference on the government funding side.
yeah. Awesome. Well, it looks like that was the last question. So that looks like that's about it for today. But yeah, really appreciate everyone's amazing questions and for everyone participating today. And then yeah, thanks to Ruth and Ed for kind of helping us answer questions and giving a little bit more details on the program today. Really excited. If you have any questions about the application or anything along those lines, please feel free to reach out. I dropped my email in earlier. If you need it again, it's audrey.miller@bouldersbdc.com. So, again, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message and I'm happy to help answer those. So thank you all. And yeah, looking forward to seeing your applications come in.